You coming up right now?
I just came up. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, no worries. I did it and didn't even tell you. I'm sorry about that. So you doing well, Pastor?
I'm doing well.
Good. Ooh, I just got a lot of stuff going on. Ooh. But it's, it is, it is what it is, honey. Just got to keep it moving. But I had a really good day because I got a lot of things done that I needed to get done. So I was very, very happy about that. Okay.
Chicago weather update. Sunny skies expected today with a chance of flurries. Daytime highs approaching 34. Northwest wind 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level out around 26. Overcast. Clouds tomorrow. Highs around 35. Average Sunday and Monday. Highs in the mid-20s. Snow Sunday. 1 to 2 tomorrow night through Sunday. From the weather out center. I'm your altitude small. Probably. Reserve your portion with us today and make it a year of performance. For portion exchange in Highland Park, visit moreportion.com. Portion.com. John, I just don't understand why somebody would that and our establishment produces dementia. Who wants to look at, right? Or produces stroke. It makes no sense, particularly when more people have dementia. Feeling that the people who have this vaccine have the same vaccine. I just don't get the John Parkinson program. You have never thought about remodeling your bathroom, but we're worried it would take too long or cost too much. Then stop worrying. Right now, the Coopy Bath Remodeling is designed to collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience, so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's Bath Remodel from the most trusted brand in the business. The Coopy Bath is a space. If they know that, just call 800-9895. That's 800-826-9895 right now and get 50% off installation. With no interest and no payment for 12 months. Replace that old bathtub today with a walk-in shower for a safer bathing experience. If you have lived in your home for over 15 years, remodel your bathroom for a virtual or home appointment. Call 800.
Okay. Can you speak, Pastor, so that he can hear you? Pastor Williams?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Can you hear her, Paul, on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. How much time do we have, Paul?
Minute and a half.
Thank you so much. All right, let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Thank you for another day.
On January 13th, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen notified Congress that the United States is projected to reach its debt limit in less than a week. accelerating the timeline for a congressional showdown in which newly empowered House Republicans have declared their intention to hold out for major spending cuts before agreeing to raise the statutory ceiling. U.S. Chamber of Commerce Executive Vice President Neil Bradley, who spent 11 years working for House Republican leadership, believes that Republicans are right to be raising concern about debt and deficit. The problem is that the tactic, defaulting on the debt, not raising the debt limit, what does that do to the budget and to the deficit? So my topic, glad they're raising it, you can't actually default on the debt and refuse to raise the debt limit. Bradley was speaking on the PBS NewsHour. For WCPT 20 and Heartland Signal, I'm Andy Miles. What is dedication? My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction is that my kids will never love me. And I thought, you know what?
Okay, so that's that.
I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. So to me, that my kids are power to truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it. That's dedication. Submitted father, I'd love to hear more from you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. It is Friday, January 20th. Can you believe it? We're about a month and a week away from the mayoral election. It's unbelievable. It'll be February 28th. Early voting begins on January 26th. And you know what else happens on the 26th? We, WCPT, are having our own mayoral forum. All of the candidates will be there. We want to know what you want them to speak to. Did you see the debate last night on ABC7? I want to get your feedback on that. What did you think about the debate? What did you think about those who were debating? What do you think about the issues that were raised? Who made the greatest impression upon you? It was in the debates, after all, 4 years ago, that attorney Lori Lightfoot, former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot, really cut through. She really broke on through. Did anyone have that kind of debate last night? I want to know what you think. 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. I'm seeing you, Joe Ziegler, sending you much love today. Barbara Bacon and Mildred Banks and Andre, my god brother here, and Monique. Elena, Monique, I want you to reach out to me because I want to know what happened to you and this ticket. We want to make things right. Everybody are going to be giving tickets away that if you call in, you can win tickets to attend the mayoral forum that WCPT is having on Thursday, January 26th. You don't want to miss it. You're going to get lunch there. You'll see all the candidates there. And who else is going to stop by? A lot of folks. WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, is my home station, as is AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. Sending everybody much love today. I want to talk about these mayoral debates. Did you see the debates last night? Did anyone resonate with you? Did any topic resonate with you? What is the top issue, or what are the top issues that you believe are concerning Chicagoans? Is it safety, crime, jobs, economic opportunity? 200 to 300,000 Black people have been moved out of Chicago. It's just getting to be too expensive. And what about the immigrants who are being brought to Chicago, who are being bussed into Chicago? Of course, we welcome everyone, but then there is the question about what you're going to do about people who are struggling, who are already here. So we got a lot to talk about. So let's get right to it on the Santita Jackson Show in Chicago. We're going to have a high of 34 degrees today. There will be some snow flurries. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 28 degrees, partly cloudy. The playoffs this weekend: Jaguars versus Kansas City, the Giants versus the Eagles, the Cowboys versus the 49ers, and maybe the Bills will continue to be inspired by Damar Hamlin showing up at their camp. They'll be playing the Bengals, repeating that game where he had that catastrophic, where we saw him fall out and essentially his heart stopped. Unbelievable. You can't make it up. And he's still struggling, according to press reports, with some health issues. He still needs oxygen. He still needs assistance breathing, but he's moving around. So we still want to know what happened to him, this healthy 24-year-old, and how will he be compensated financially? In the NBA, the Timberwolves 128, the Raptors 126, the Bulls 126, the Pistons 108, and in the NHL, Chicago 4, the Flyers 1, and the Hurricanes 5, and the Wild 2. Happy Lunar New Year to all of our Asian brothers and sisters in China, in Vietnam, and South Korea, throughout the Asian part of our globe. This is the year of the rabbit, a year that is supposed to yield hope and good fortune. Much love, much love to our Asian brothers and sisters as they celebrate their Lunar New Year. Everybody is talking about the weather, okay? A large swath of the northeastern United States is gearing up for several days of heavy snow, freezing rain, or a mix of both. It could create treacherous road and travel conditions. About 7 million people are in the storm's path. President Joe Biden on Thursday made his first public remarks since batches of classified documents from his time as vice president were found at his private Washington, D.C. office and Wilmington, Delaware home. He said, and I quote, "I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets," close quote. President Biden said about not revealing earlier that the documents had been discovered. Special counsel is investigating how the president and his team handled the Obama-era classified documents that were recently found. The new 988 National Mental Health Crisis Line has seen a significant rise in call volume since its transition 6 months ago from the former 1-800-273-TALK. If you are having suicidal thoughts, or if you are just in emotional trouble, if you need someone to talk to, everybody, please call 988. That is the new number. More than 2 million calls, texts, and chats to 988 have been routed to a response center, according to a CNN analysis. If you need help, everybody, mental help, call 988. 988. And we've got Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams. Oh, this anointed woman of God, you got to get her book. I See You, Sis. So many of us feel unseen. But you won't, after you read this book, you will see yourself all in the Bible and say, you know what, if she can do it, I can too. I love it. I love it. I love it. Pastor, how are you this morning? Oh, it is always a joy to be with you. I always can't wait to hear what you have, such an interesting, oh my goodness, enlightening take on the Bible. It's just, you're a blessing. You're a gift. And everybody waits. Betty, everybody, we're all waiting. So give us some good news.
Say the good news. I want to continue in using Ruth as an example. There's a phrase that says, I understood the assignment. And that's what I want to talk about today. Do you understand your assignment? When that particular phrase is ascribed to someone, it means someone who goes above and beyond, whether it's what they say, how they dress, or how they show up in the world. When you give 110% and go above and beyond what you were called to do or asked to do, someone will then declare you understood the assignment. And so today we look at Ruth as someone who understood very specifically her assignment. If you look through especially verse 2, chapter 2, you'll see she set out, she seized the opportunity, she stayed steady, she was set apart, she got a seat at the table, she secured the bag, and she stuck close. She understood her assignment. And my question today is, what's yours? It should be every person's plea to find out exactly what God has specifically put them on earth to do. And after this realization, ready yourself as Ruth did and just do it. It's important to stress an assignment. It's specific, it's unique, and it applies to every person. Your assignment is simply what God wants you to do. Age, gender, and socioeconomic status are not restrictive reasons. Everyone has a job to do. Everyone has an assignment. And there are no shortage of people in the Bible, stories where biblical identities receive instructions from God relating to their assignment. I've always observed that God will apply God's favor on a person's life after they wholeheartedly commit to their assignment. So maybe you're wondering why doors are not opening for you. Maybe you're wondering why you're not feeling fulfilled in life. maybe you have yet to commit to your assignment. And this is the reason, because of favor. Favor goes with the assignment. Favor does not go with the individual. It goes with the assignment. And do you know what we call that? We call that alignment. Can I give you an example? For Noah, there was a flood coming, so he was assigned to build an ark. For Joseph, there was a famine coming, so he was assigned to get God's people into Egypt. For Moses, there was an emancipation coming, so he was assigned to get to the promised land. For Esther, there was a genocide coming, so she was assigned to make a supplication to the king. What's your assignment? There is an assignment for you, and you need to know what it is. For Ruth, there was a great king named David coming who would bring about the son of the Savior of the world. So she was assigned to move to Bethlehem. What's your assignment today? And I can hear somebody asking, Pastor, I understand the assignment, but how can I really understand an assignment when I don't know my assignment? Well, let me help you. Your assignment is in alignment with your identity. Your assignment is in alignment with your community, and your assignment is in alignment with your legacy. Your assignment is in alignment with your identity. Your assignment is in alignment with your community, and your assignment is in alignment with your legacy. So remember that as you're trying to figure out, what is my assignment? What on earth have I been put here to do? And I want you to know that wherever you find yourself in your assignment, God is there. I remember a story about a map that's on display in the British Museum. And when the topographer made this map, he put little notes in it to warn people about where the dangers are. So he said, here be giants, and over here to the west be scorpions, down here in the south be dragons. But eventually the map came into the possession of Sir John Franklin, a British explorer in the early 1800s. And you know what he did? He scratched out all of the fearful inscriptions, and then he wrote these words, here is God. So I want somebody to know today that whether you find yourself like Ruth in the messiness of Moab or in the blessed state of Bethlehem, here is God. Understand your assignment and execute it. And that's the good news.
That is the good news. The good news is that we are all here for a reason. Ask God, what on earth am I here for? And you know, Bishop Henry, what on earth am I here for? Bishop Henry Williamson gave me a book. He said, you know, I can see something. I can see something in you, young lady, and I want to give you this. It was a booklet, and it prompted me to buy the book. And it said, you know, you weren't made by your friends. You weren't made by the world. You were constructed by God. If you got a computer, you would look at the instruction manual. Huh? So why don't you ask God, since God made you? Wonderfully and perfectly made. Only you would help me to step back and take that book today. Everybody, you've got to get the book. I see you, sis. You're going to see yourself so clearly, so much more clearly. And take this, everybody. This is on the podcast on the Santita Jackson Show, WCPT820.com/Santita, so that you can hear this. We're going to gather all of these and really do something with them, because a lot of people really look forward to hearing from these pastors every single day, and especially you, Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams, sending you so much love today.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, a wonderful weekend.
Oh, my goodness. Oh. How can we worship with you on Sunday?
Yeah, you can worship with us via YouTube at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, First Baptist Church of Bridgehampton. We'd love to have you guys join us.
That's right, girl. Don't leave here without saying that. Come on. What? Don't leave us hanging. Pastor. Y'all knocked me out. I love it. Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams, everybody, sending you much love. Thank you for blessing us this morning. Of course, we have got infection preventionist, registered nurse, the head of the largest organization of epidemiologists and infection preventionists in the world. And we're so excited that she takes the time to be with us in between planes and everything else, trains, planes, boats, and automobiles. You know what? You were talking about hygiene poverty. And that's a phrase that a lot of us with which we're not familiar. But I want you to explain what it is Just give us a definition. And I want to ask you about the impact of not being able to bathe regular, or not being able to bathe regularly, not being able to brush your teeth. Um, just talk to us about hygiene poverty.
Okay. So hygiene poverty is the inability to be able to have access to or being able to afford hygiene items on a regular basis. And so what that means is for individuals that may live, let's say work, and they are already at the brink of not being able to afford, let's say, somewhere to live. So transportation, it means that deodorant, soap, disinfectant products may not necessarily be of the utmost priority. If that is the case of where it's not of the utmost priority, it then leads to an environment that can become contaminated with pathogens, viruses, or fungus. And then it means, and not it becomes contaminated with those things because the perfect opportunity or the perfect storm is created for it to grow. Think about a refrigerator, for example, that someone may not have disinfectants or cleaning products to clean, and there's mold, and there's, food that tends to go bad. Well, food is living, and so it tends to create germs, and those germs, then if someone consumes it, if we ingest it, if we breathe it, like there's so many things that we can do to come in contact with those germs, and naturally it will make us sick. Same thing if, for example, imagine a dog, and I'm thinking of a singer adult, I'm thinking of a baby that, let's say, has to have an adult brief or a diaper, for a child that wears those items for extended periods of time and end up with a urinary tract infection, a stool infection. Someone that wouldn't be able to bathe, that means that their pores might build up on their skin, and that can cause an abscess or a boil, which then can become infected. So the problem that we're running into with this whole situation of people not being able to afford things is, how do we really tell someone to practice infection prevention and control, and they don't even have the basic necessities of life to be able to keep themselves safe? They don't have the basic necessities of life to even be able to keep themselves safe from infections. So when we think about that, how does that translate in COVID? That's someone not being able to have masks or adequate masks or adequately protective masks to be able to keep themselves safe. That means someone not having soap and water when someone says wash your hands. It means that if someone, speaking of a healthcare worker, let's say they're working around germs all the time, or you have environmental services that's trying to keep the environment clean, the employer might be very pressed about them keeping the environment clean, but yet does not care about that employee and the ability for them to be able to wash their uniforms daily for any of the germs that they picked up trying to keep their space clean. So those would be a couple of examples that I can give.
Oh, Dr. Knighton?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got 2 minutes, and I want you to have them.
I know I got it, but I was looking for you to respond or
this is this is cutting into your response time. But that having been said, we've always heard about the child in school who might smell, or we might have a colleague or a friend who carries an odor. A lot of people are unhoused. They're homeless. A lot of people are not living in the most stable of circumstances. And something that many of us take for granted, being able to bathe, being able to brush our teeth, having sanitary products, that is something that many people around the world to which they do not have access, and none more than here in the United States. And so I think that that needs to be part of our health policy, as you're talking about preventing infection. I mean, just very quickly, not being able to bathe, what does that do?
Right, that's what I just mentioned.
We talk about the boils and things like that. Yeah.
It can cause somebody's pores to build up. It causes germs on the skin. Our skin is our protective barrier, so if it's clogged and it doesn't have the right normal flora, meaning like the right pH level, and it's very hard for our skin to be our protective layer to protect us against germs. So that's why being groomed is so important, because our body does protect us when it's in its best state. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, too, a second ago, you mentioned policy, and one of the things that people don't think about is the fact that food may not be taxed, but these items, which are also essential to living, are not taxed. I mean, are taxed, meaning people have to pay tax just to be able to get soap. There's also individuals that may not have a washing machine or have access to stuff to be able to clean. People don't have working refrigerators, so they might be storing their food improperly, which then can lead to some sort of, let's say, bacterial contamination. We all know that foodborne illnesses is a real thing. So if you don't have the proper materials to be able to store food, be able to cook food, be able to launder laundry, then sanitation conditions that would exist for someone would be subpar. So when we think about health disparities in the United States, or the fact that, yes, there are certain populations that are more prone to being sicker or dying than others, one of the things that people don't take into account is going into someone's home and you want to provide the best care to them, but their environment is not set up to provide the best care. And we don't have policies and services to support that.
And remember, everybody, your skin, that's the largest organ of your body. We've got to think about that. And thank you, Nicole. You were working on a project, and we did a show on this, on period poverty. We're providing sanitary products for young women and for girls and for women. It's just, these are the things that we need to think about when you're talking about being healthy and well. Sending you much love today, everybody. Dr. Shanina Knighton's handle is at Hey Dr. Nina, HEYDRNINA. Coming up, let's talk about this debate. Did you see it last night? Who you got in this Chicago mayoral race? Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. How you doing? I'm sorry, hon. I was trying to let you finish because, I'm taking notes, literally.
I'm sitting up here listening, and I was like, I was just waiting on a response. But believe it or not, it's not a lot. That really, something that's so simple, and it's not a lot that needs to be said in a way, which is crazy, but it's true because it's a concept, but it's there.
Oh boy.
It's a simple concept, believe it or not, even though it's very important, and I think that's the challenge.
Well, I think it has to become an issue.
So I agree, and I'm telling you, when I talk to people about it, and they had this aha moment, if you talk, and I'm talking about like non-healthcare people, if I talk to non-healthcare people, they get it. Because to them, when you walk into somebody's house and you say, it's nasty, I don't even feel like putting my bag down. And this is a reality to people. And it could be one of your loved ones. Mm-hmm. You don't think about the fact that, they probably just ain't got stuff to clean up. Or they probably don't know how to clean up, right? These are not things that we provide education on. It's not things that we provide resources to. We just don't do it. When we think about clutter and people not understanding how unsafe having clutter is. Mm-hmm. Somebody not having trash bag to throw trash away, and how trash ends up in the pile in somebody's house. It happens.
Every day.
But it's unsanitary, and it can make people sick and prone to disease.
Every day. Every day. That's why I want us to start bringing that up more, because it's a real issue for people. And so when you talk about people being unhoused or people really living from pillar to post, and more people are, I mean, the basic things about your health that you take for granted. Um, you can't take them for granted because they put your life at risk. They put your health at risk. You know what's like they have these pimple popper shows, and then they have a lot of them on YouTube. And it occurred to me, I said, why are these videos so popular? Then I thought about it. I said, maybe these people don't have soap, or the proper cleaning products for their skin. And it made me think. And I said, it's not that people don't want to be clean. People want to be clean, but people are trying to survive, Dr. Knighton.
That's it, but then get this. I'm going to add another layer on top of that to you based off of what you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is you're right. Some people might say, I can afford soap, but it's not the right time for my body. We know that there are a lot of chemicals and a lot of things, and we know that people have allergies to a lot of stuff. So if I literally can only afford a six-pack for $3 of soap, but I know that soap is going to inflame my skin. Mm-hmm. I know it's going to cause me to have breakouts, but that's all that I can afford. Then it becomes a health equity issue because it's not the fact that I can't afford it. I can't afford what it is that I need. Mm-hmm. So if it's a high-level brand, that's going to run me $8-9 a bottle, but I got a household. We're 30 seconds out.
Okay.
On the line.
Okay, stand by. I've got to say hello to Kevin Lampy. Kevin.
Good morning. How are you?
My dear friend, it's wonderful to hear your voice. And Dwight McKee.
Good morning.
Two of the most brilliant political minds, and we're going to get up Reverend Wilson. We can get her next, and then we are good. We're talking about our mayoral debate.
How are you?
Hi, Reverend Wilson. How are you?
Great.
You're on with Kevin Lampy and Dwight McKee. Stand by. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. I want you to call me at 773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. Did you see the debate last night? Have you seen any of the debates? Is there any candidate who stands out for you? Indeed, 4 years ago, Lori Lightfoot was a virtual unknown. And then former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot, brilliant lawyer, she broke on through. She just really broke on through in the debates. Has that happened here? Has anyone surprised you? Do you agree with anyone's plan? I want you to call me at 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. And I hope that you will stay tuned because we have 2 tickets to give away. That's right, 2 tickets to give away to the WCPT mayoral debate. Everybody's going to be there. All of the candidates are going to be there. Joan Esposito, Patty Vasquez, and Santita Jackson, yours truly, will be moderating this debate. And it's going to be very exciting. Going to have lunch early at 11, and then we get things going at 12 o'clock. It's going to be fantastic. And of course, we want you to attend. So keep listening. So we'll be giving tickets away in the next hour. But before we get to that, let me speak to Chaparral Wells. It's coming up on the Super Bowl. We've got the playoffs this weekend. Super Bowl is coming. Everyone's waiting for Rihanna. But we like having some good food during our Super Bowl parties. I know Celebrations by Us can do it.
Yes, Santita, and Celebrations by Us is your one-stop party connection. And right now we are taking your orders for your Super Bowl as well as also Valentine's Day. So give us a call at 708-526-4546, 708-526-4546. We can handle your sliders, your wings, as well as also your sandwiches, as well as your sweets, your caramel cake, your red velvet cake, your banana pudding, and your custom cookies. So give us a call at 708-526-4546, 708-526-4546. We look forward to serving you. Thank you so much, Santita.
Thank you. Everybody call me. What did you think about the debate last night? 773 763-9278. Chicago, Illinois, the third most populous city behind New York and Los Angeles in the country, the third most populous city. About 2.67 million people live here. About 2 to 300,000 African Americans have moved out over the past couple of decades. Why? It's just too expensive. And then when you knock down the Robert Taylor home, that's 100,000 people. I mean, we are being farmed out of here. And to what end? It's blasting a hole in Black political power. But still, the city is pretty much, it's a very American place. It's about a third, about a third white, a third Hispanic, a third Black, just roughly, more or less. And so we've got some real issues. People are worried about their safety. They're worried about crime. They're concerned about education. They're concerned about economic opportunity for the little guy. You know, the pandemic wiped a lot of small businesses out. So we got to talk about that today because that's what we were hearing about last night. And, you know, and I want to know what you thought about Mayor Lightfoot, Brandon Johnson, Paul Vallis, Chuy Garcia, Jamal Green. I mean, it was Rod Sawyer. It was Sophia King. It was an embarrassment of riches. You had a lot of great people. Everybody, and I know just about everybody on that stage to fully disclose, and they're all great, great people. Even though I have a preference, I won't reveal that here because I will be fair. You know, I think that is my duty. That I have to you, and I will fulfill it. So let us get on with this, everybody. Hope that you'll join us January 26th at our debate. You know, we're going to ask the right questions. We've got Reverend Jeanette Wilson, Esquire from Rainbow Push, and Dwight McKee, brilliant social scientist, and Kevin Lampy. Let me let you start things off. Kevin Lampy and his wife, Kitty Kurth, who is my sister friend, and I love you, Kevin. But of course, she's been on the show. She's been with me since I was on another station. And no one has been more encouraging and more loving than my beloved Kitty Kurth. And you all are two of the top political operatives in the country, quite frankly. You do local, state, federal, national races. That's what you do. What do you see with this race?
You know, this race is, first off, it's going to go to a runoff. There's just too many people. And so it's always a challenge when you're looking at races like this. You know, sometimes you're running for second place, not just first place, and you got to keep that in mind. But it is the challenge. People are not happy with Mayor Lightfoot. That's the simplest thing. I hear it constantly, both within the political circles and even from regular people. They're not happy with what she's done, but they're not sure who can do the job. And who can actually do the job. And I had a number of people come to me who wanted to run for mayor. And the first question I asked is, why do you want to do this job? Or could you do this job? You know, the 24 hours, 7-day-a-week job that it takes to be mayor of the city. And it's been frustrating to see how much Mayor Lightfoot has kind of peddled away her political capital. She came into this office, you know, 78 points of political capital. And your unfavorable ratings are exactly the opposite now.
Well, but didn't she walk into a mess? I mean, because you just said, you know, when people come to you, you ask them, why do you want this job? And several people, you know, to disclose, they've asked my brother Jonathan to run. He's in Congress now, and one person said, "Are you kidding? There is no money here." And this was like 6-7 years ago, 10 years ago. He said, there's no money here. It's thankless. And until Chicago gets right fiscally, until, you know, there's this reset that needs to occur, anybody who walks into this is going to walk into a very, very difficult situation. I mean, because I think that, you know, how many of us would have been able to get through the pandemic? Everybody caught hell dealing with the pandemic, Kevin.
You know? Absolutely. And the mayor walked into, like, you know, first off, she walked into the Trump era, and all the bad baggage that was going on with there from the former president, or the future convict. And then then the pandemic hit. And yes, it was a difficult time. And she did the best she could in a difficult situation. But I think there's been, and I will say, I've been a critic. Her leadership style has clashed with a
Mhm.
lot of people, clashed with her own staff, clashed with people in city council. And, if she came in thinking I can be like Chicago mayors and tell the council what to do, like they did in the past, that just wasn't going to happen with the class of aldermen she came in with.
Mhm.
That class of aldermen, they were saying, okay, let's make this equitable. Let's spread this out over 50 wards. Let's look at this. And then we went through a redistricting battle. And the mayor had a heck of a time trying to be able to communicate her message and be able to be an effective leader while battling the council and not really understanding the dynamics of it. It is always a challenge for someone who has not held elected office to walk into an office as big as the mayor of Chicago is.
It is hard because you need to be the ultimate politician and you got to get along with people. Otherwise, you will not make it. Reverend Jeanette Wilson, your thoughts about the debate and just about this campaign overall. Reverend Wilson, you there? Well, let me shift this over to you, Dwight McKee.
Yes,
You're
yes,
okay,
I'm
Reverend
here,
Wilson.
I'm here.
Okay, no,
I'm
no.
here.
But I have to move on. It's live radio. But go on, go on.
Mayor Lightfoot obviously is a moving target because she's a sitting mayor. And as Kevin said, she inherited a series of problems. I think most people don't like her style, but every mayor that we've had prior to her, there was this boss syndrome from Mayor Daley, and even the previous mayor. So she's a woman, and women are judged by a different standard. Women are expected to be more motherly, more kinder and gentler, and that's not her style, unfortunately. However, I think what we learned last night, a lot of people have a lot of ideas about what might work. She's the only one that's sitting in that office that could say, this is what I've done to make it work. And so I think that she didn't win the debate, but at least she was able to articulate in sound bites some things that she's been able to do. I didn't like the format of the debate because you didn't get to hear enough from any one of the candidates because they had 45 seconds, and then 30 seconds for a rebuttal. So it was too short to really get into any particular area that they were trying to cover. Everybody covered the obvious topics. I didn't feel that any one of them was like groundbreaking information. I felt like, this one here, it will be a great administrator because the mayor is the chief administrator for the city of Chicago. The one thing I think they all agreed, there had to be a partnership between the state and the feds in terms of funding to address some of the problems in the city of Chicago. I do think that a couple of the candidates didn't seem to know much about what the mayor was supposed to do at all. And they were just saying stuff that had no particular value. Crime seemed to be the prevailing issue throughout the debate. Everything came back around to crime, and then there was a big focus on students. What do you do about the children? The mental health crisis, but also how do you reduce crime among young people in terms of what do you do to them after school and on weekends. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a good focus for all the candidates. I didn't see any groundbreaking solutions. Paul Vallis talked about what he did while he was head of the Chicago Public Schools and his Lighthouse program and some of those things. None of them really discussed, and I guess it wasn't one of the topics, economic development and reinvestment in these distressed communities, how they could really turn these blighted poverty areas around. But I thought it was a civil discussion among them, and it seemed to be quite professionally handled. So I was encouraged by this format.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I thought that people did well and they were very civil. But these are when you get into these spaces, people know each other, and unless something is seriously amiss, people the unkindness. There's no place there. Dwight McKee, your thoughts? You saw the debate last night. What were your impressions, and what have been your impressions of this race thus far?
Well, first, I don't think that Trump was Lori's problem. I think that Ron was some problem. He actually studied the economy and redistributed the wealth in such a way. Because he left out in a dire strait. It was very hard for her now to try to bring balance to the economy that had been so severely imbalanced. I also think that with a caustic style, that it does run contrary, not to just her being a woman. I don't think that's the issue so as much as it is that she seems to be defensive on every issue that people disagree with her. And I think that works against her. People I was most impressed with, believe it or not, I thought that the young guy, Jamal, I thought he was very good. Like, because his age, he had an unusual understanding of social policy. I thought Sophia King was much more gracious than I had expected her to be. He got a real good grasp of the issues. But I was also impressed with Willie Wilson, who spent the first today. Maybe the issues. I mean, maybe the answer. When they talked about the Bears and what to do about the Bears, what did they get another team? That makes perfect sense to me. And his fundamental understanding of how things work, you can understand why he was able to make so much money in an economy that you really, most people have to go to school to master. Is that him coming out of just a basic, simple, folksy kind of environment gives him a real fundamental understanding of how things work. And, you know, I think that he can be a real problem solver. So, I think overall, I don't think anybody dominated the debate or anybody was so extraordinary to be an exception. But I think everybody did reasonably well, and I could pretty much live with it. Everybody up there. But it's one or two people that will go unnamed.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Brandon did extremely well. I thought Chewy Garcia did well. I thought Rod Sawyer did well. I mean, it was just, you know, you had some really, really bright people running for office. Let me go to Otis Thomas. You've called in. What's on your mind? You saw the debate last night?
I just saw it this morning.
Okay. Well, you know, last night, this morning, you know, it's all right. You saw it. What were your impressions? I mean, did you walk away feeling good about anyone, or how'd you feel?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm disappointed because the main issue they kept talking about in the beginning was police. We pulled more police. My thing is when they talk about crime and violence in Chicago, the poster child of that are black people. And I never heard no one talk about economics in the black community like other neighborhoods like on Western and Devon, where you got the Indian community, how those people are together, and the Hispanic community, how they build their communities and when they hire their own people in the neighborhood. And even in Italy, those are the races of people, Chinatown, Asian, Koreatown, up north. Those people there, they don't have issues with crime like black people do. And the reason why that because they got the economic funding from the city of Chicago and also grants that help build the communities. Not only that, they had the right kind of people in place to say, this is what we want and we want nothing else. Just like the Hispanics are doing right now, saying that they want jobs and they're demanding the jobs, and the jobs that they like the state right now, they're funding these immigrants and giving them money and giving them jobs and housing and stuff. And I think that all black people in Chicago, I think that we all should get together and tell them we don't want to hear about what you're going to do for minorities. We want to hear what you're going to do about us and improving our economic. If we own our own community, that lowers the crime in the neighborhood because you're hiring people in the communities that know everybody in the neighborhood. They're going to have an opportunity to work in the neighborhood, working at the same kind of businesses that other races have. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Logan Lightfoot, the main thing that was disappointing me about Logan Lightfoot and her commercial, I'm gonna continue to go ahead Washington. And why would you say that now, Lori? After 4 years, going to 4 years, you haven't done it. You haven't done it then. Garcia, he's another example of he wants black people to trust him, but yet that man hasn't done nothing to give us a program or the blueprint of how to upgrade our black communities like the Hispanics did, will wind up being the second highest economic community in the city of Chicago, other than the Gold Coast. We're not saying we want to be up there with them. We just want to say that we want to own our own stuff. Because once you do that, the people in the neighborhood know each other. They're not going to allow other black people to commit such crimes as trying to rob and steal from the stores, because that put pride in the black people when they realize that they only own business. And this is what we've been saying since the 60s. We used to say we had a solution. Now we don't hear that no more. All we got is a bunch of people running for mayor. They're nothing but just puppets for the Chicago machine and trying to beg and get crumbs from their masters that run the city. The Chicago machine is still alive today.
Well, I hear you, Otis. The establishment is real, but I'd be very careful about painting with such a broad brush. Because I think that on that stage you had some people who are part of the no, just one moment. We can engage. We don't have to be confrontational. I think that you have people who are in the system, one or two who are kind of sort of out, but once you become mayor, you get in the system, because that's just how the system works. At the end of the day, even when you get a black person in office, and I think we should have learned that from the Obama years, that is when you've got to advocate. One of the things that we should have learned from the Obama years is that we stopped advocating. What we started doing was advocating for one person, and we forgot about all the rest of us. And we have paid a heck of a price for that. Saving one person and sacrificing. No, I gotta go move to Mama D. But if you make it real quick, I'm breaking my own rule. But I'm just saying, saving one person, making history for one person, and sacrificing a whole community. I hope we never do that again. Very quickly, Otis.
Okay. Anybody that's listening right now, if you agree with me, call in and let her know that you agree with me or what I said. I'm not talking about sacrificing one person. I'm just talking about, as black people, us. We tell them what you going to do for us.
But we're on the same page, Otis. Otis, we're saying, Otis, they don't need to tell me that, because Otis, that's what I just said.
I'm asking them.
No, I hear you, and you should. But what I'm saying to you is, I just put the dot on your I. I said, we've got to engage in self-advocacy. There's no disagreement. There's no daylight between us. Thank you so much, Otis. Let me go to Mama D. Mama D, what's on your mind?
Well, greetings to you. I wouldn't vote for Mayor Lightfoot again because of her executive order guaranteeing 19 benefits for sanctuary settlers, and how she let the South Side burn to the ground while she boarded buildings that had already been looted downtown. I think Dr. Wilson did a good job. I'm glad he learned English, because English is our mother tongue language.
Okay. All right. So, what are you hearing? I've got literally less than a minute for everybody. Kevin Lamb, no, Mama D?
I'm hearing that Lori Lightfoot puts the needs of sanctuary settlers and sanctuary seekers above the needs of the citizens in her city that voted for her.
Okay.
And it's fundamentally wrong to have them above the law and we, her citizens, be beneath it all. She guaranteed 19 benefits the day after she found out that blacks were dying from COVID at a rate of 72%. Whites and Latinos was tied at 17% and Asians at 5%. And she did this executive order, and it was a terrible slap in the face. And the way she lied about Antoinette Young, too, that didn't do her any good. And I think all this stuff is a little too late. She's a day late and a dollar short. And
Okay.
I'm Dr. Wilson all the way. He's already proven what he's done, and he didn't need the title of mayor to do it, to help people that are in need. And that's what we need. We need a man with somebody with a head for business and a heart for the people.
So just very quickly, thank you, Mama D. Very quickly, I've got less than 2 minutes. About 30 seconds for you, Reverend Wilson. Respond to what you just heard. 30 seconds. Okay, well then let me go over to you, Dwight. 30 seconds. Your response?
I said she really does not know what the mayor has done.
Okay.
And that she has to increase her ability to communicate with people on the ground. That's just one of the issues. She's done a lot of things that people don't know about. I was impressed with. I think Sophia King had some good points. I think Jamal Green had some good points. The question is, who can govern at this point? And I think Chewy finally tried to tell us what he had been doing since he's been in Congress. I've not heard from him. I think that's the challenge that Chewy has, and Sophia King and Brandon Johnson. They're already in office. Tell us what you've done to address any of the issues that were raised last night.
Well, you know what has to happen. They have to be on these outlets all the time, so people can know what you've done. Because otherwise, people don't know. That's one of the lessons I've learned from Reverend Jackson. Reverend Jackson has been ubiquitous.
Absolutely.
He's been working all the time, but you catch him on the radio at 5 and 6 in the morning, letting you know what he's doing, what needs to be done, et cetera, et cetera. Kevin Lampley, 30 seconds for you.
I'm hearing a lot, and I personally agree with it. Anybody but Paul Vallis.
Ooh.
I think Paul Vallis's advertising is incredibly divisive, and I hear a lot of dog whistles, and I hear a lot of this, law and order, sounding like Richard Nixon. And I think Paul Vallis was a terrible administrator of Chicago Public Schools, and then left the city to go mismanage other places. And I'm hearing a lot of it. People are saying, how do we stop him? How do we make sure that he's not messed up too?
But very quickly, I want you to speak to that on the other side of the break, because I'm wondering if he does not very quietly, stealthily, have a block of white supporters behind him. Right? That's because, there's a science to politics. No one does it better than you and Kitty Kurth, Kevin Lamprey. And when people pull these commercials together, they have looked at the audience and they know what they're trying to say. Let's talk about it. We'll be back. I want to hear from you too, Dwight McKee and Dr. Bob Starks on the Santita Jackson Show. Call us at 773-763. WCPT, and in the next hour you can win tickets to be at the WCPT Mayoral Forum. Back in just a minute. Woo! You all keep talking.
All right.
We're on Facebook Live, just so that you know.
CPS during the Paul Vallis administration, and I think he came into CPS at a time when we were designated as the worst school system in America.
Really?
And what he was able to do was increase some opportunities for African American businesses. He opened up the Lighthouse schools, had schools open later in the day. He's not an educator. And the two educators that really ran the system, people don't know, Cosette Buckney and Blondine Davis. And so they became empowered under him. But they absolutely ran Chicago Public Schools. I do think that Paul has a base of white people. He comes from a police background. And so policing, and he's supported by the Chicago Board of Police. That should say something in terms of where he is now and who supported him. So you got to look at, how do I get my support? And then you have the black people divided up the black vote. And you have Chewy, who will probably have a straight line of Latino voters supporting him. And then you have the divided black communities. Brandon, who is really phenomenal in terms of education, and he's extremely articulate. So he has some strengths. I think that I'm not as impressed with Willie's folksy manner, and he has some basic understanding approaches to things, I'm not so sure that they'll be effective in running a city. Those are my thoughts.
Anybody else? Dwight, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think in many ways you can compare Willie to Billy, except Willie had his own money. He had all of the debt, basic, ordinary, mediocre white people who were not articulate, who was not highly educated, but they understood the nitty-gritty of politics and put the people around them who were the intellectual academic crowd. So you talk about Willie's limitation. We've had limited mayors for those 50 years on the white side. So I really would have to, I don't understand why people are so fixated and preoccupied on the inability to be what they call articulate when they saw that as an asset.
I don't think it's that he's inarticulate. That's the biggest problem. I'm not so sure that his approaches would give us what we're looking for and what we need. It's a little bit more complicated than perhaps he's been able to articulate. I'm not saying, so it's not that he's, Daly didn't talk at all. The old man Daly, he was an organizer. He knew how to organize a city where he had people reported to him. He was boss. He ruled as like a mafia leader. And if you didn't support his programs, you were eliminated. Not killed, but you were removed from the position of power. So he understood power. I think Willie understands power and how to move money around. But I'm not so sure that that's the best administrator for the city of Chicago at this time.
Yes,
If I was on that side, I would try to get all of them as part of my administration because each one of them has some skill sets that I think the city needs. Jamal has an energy and insight of young people. I think that he would bring something to the city that we need.
It's the challenge of such a crowded field. When first place maybe 25% if that, and so it becomes incredibly complicated. And sometimes, as I think Paul Ballas is trying to target a small white ethnic vote, conservative, and he comes off because that's the most Republican commercial I've seen in Chicago. I think ever in Chicago politics, and he is running as a Republican. I see it and I can hear it, and I can see it in the technique that Paul Ballas is using in the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I think part of his challenge is, remember, Paul wanted to run for governor, and at that time, Roland Burris ran. He wanted to run for something else, and he's always tried to court the black vote, didn't get it. So at this point, if he wants to run for mayor, he has to look at another face to drive it home, and it's the white community. And I think there's a significant body of white people who want to take the city back.
And I stand. I think the Paul Ballas voter is the people that are caused. That is the problem in Chicago. I'm a fiery liberal, and I believe the government can do good for people. And I do not. That Paul Ballas voter is just a couple steps removed from being a Trump voter. And the dog whistles and the commercials, even look and feel the commercials, I find them incredibly insulting. And he seems to be using code words, and it is not how to bring the city together.
Well, I want you to speak to that when we get on the air, because is anyone calling him out? No one's calling him out. No one is calling him out, and I think that that's a mistake.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I will say it when I'm there.
Yeah. And we have Dr. Bob Starks. Dr. Starks? Dr. Starks?
Yes. Hello,
Okay.
how are you?
Great. Make sure everybody stay off mute, because when I come to you, I need to come right to you, because seconds mean so much in radio. And if I can't get you, I'm gonna have to move over to the next person.
Seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
So please
All
make
right.
sure you all stay off mute. All right, we're coming up, everybody. Dr. Bob Starks is joining Kevin Lampy, Reverend Attorney Jeanette Wilson, and Dwight McKee.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. Let's talk about the mayoral debate. The election is February 28th. Will we have a runoff? Many people believe that we will, but who's going to be in the runoff if we get there? Did you see the debate last night? Have you seen any of the debates? Has anyone sparked the flame in you that makes you want to vote for them? I want you to call me at 773. Call me in this panel at 773-763-9278. 773-763-9278. Join Dwight McKee, Reverend Jeanette Wilson, Esquire, Kevin Lampy, and Dr. Bob Starks as we break it all down. And if you want to hear the side conversations, go to the Santita Jackson and Friends page and the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. That's the chitter chatter that everybody loves to hear in between the breaks. We get a whole lot. Kevin Lampy's got a lot to say about Paul Vallis's campaign style in Chicago, which is really interesting. Cannot wait to hear from you. And so let's get to some of these headlines so that we can get on to the rest of the show. In Chicago, we're going to have some snow flurries today and a high of 34 degrees. Minneapolis, St. Paul, a high of 28 degrees, partly cloudy. In the NFL, the playoffs are here, everybody. The Jaguars versus Kansas City. The Giants will be playing the Eagles this weekend, and the Cowboys and the 49ers. And we're going to have the Bengals-Bills game. Of course, that's been delayed by the near tragedy of Damar Hamlin, who is still struggling with some health issues. It has been reported that he still needs oxygen, but he's still making a miraculous recovery. His heart stopped twice. Everybody, think about that. In the NBA, the Timberwolves 128, the Raptors 126, the Bulls 126, the Pistons 108, and in the NHL, Chicago 4-1 over the Flyers, and the Hurricanes 5-2 over the Wild. Happy Lunar New Year to our Asian brothers and sisters in China, Vietnam, South Korea, and throughout Asia. Our Asian brothers and sisters are celebrating the Year of the Rabbit, where hope and good fortune follow, everybody. Happy Lunar New Year. Happy Lunar New Year. God bless you, everybody. So let us get to just a few more of these headlines. We have got a large swath of the Northeast U.S. that is gearing up for several days of heavy snow. 7 million people are in this storm's path. It could be treacherous travel, everybody. Please be careful. President Joe Biden on Thursday made his first public remarks since batches of classified documents from his time as vice president were found in his private Washington office and his Wilmington, Delaware home. Quote, he said, "I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets," close quote. Still, a special counsel is investigating how the president and his team handled these classified documents. The new 988 National Mental Health Crisis Line has seen a significant rise in call volume since its transition 6 months ago from the former 1-800-273-TALK number. More than 2 million calls, texts, and chats to 988 have been routed to a response center. Everybody, if you are having suicidal thoughts, or if you know someone who is, if someone is just having a mental health crisis, call 988. Help is but a phone call away, everybody. Call us at 773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. Want to hear your thoughts about the debate and about this mayoral election. Do you think that Lori Lightfoot's going to be able to pull it out and win? Do you think that Brandon Johnson is going to win? I mean, who's the sleeper candidates? What about Willie Wilson? He's got a lock on a big chunk of the black vote. Can you count him out? And the union support that Brandon Johnson is getting is significant. Chuy Garcia, so much support. He's been doing a lot of coalition building down through the years. Don't count that out. And the Hispanic vote. There is a lot going on. And what about Paul Vallis? No one's really talking about him, but can't wait to hear Kevin Lampe's interesting analysis of his lock on the white vote, the white ethnic vote here in Chicago. That's a very, very real part of our lives here. Before we get into the rest of the show, I want you to talk about Team Hochberg and your financial freedom. If you're selling your home and or purchasing a new home and would like to save thousands of dollars, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. They have a new program, everybody's Perks at Work. Team Hochberg is officially offering everyone their Perks at Work benefit through the end of April, which can save you thousands of dollars the next time you buy or sell a home. Here's how it works. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor sells your home, they'll reduce their fee by up to 1%. That's big. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor helps you purchase a home, you will receive up to 1% of their commission as a closing cost credit. Team Hochberg will credit their loan origination fee, and their affiliated attorney will reduce his or her fee. A couple saved close to $9,000 using this Perks at Work program from Team Hochberg when they sold their home and purchased a new one. To learn how you can save thousands of dollars the next time you buy or sell a home, give Team Hochberg a call at 855-56-DAVID, 855-56-DAVID, or go to 56david.com, 56david.com. That's 855-5628-43 or 56david.com. They're equal housing lender. We've got a tremendous panel as we discuss this mayoral election. It is of great, 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 great import. And I want to know what your thoughts are. Call us at 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. Joining Reverend Jeanette Wilson from Rainbow Push is Dwight McKee. And we've got Dr. Bob Starks, preeminent political scientist. We cannot wait to get his thoughts. But Dr. Starks, I think I'd like to start with Kevin Lampe because he made some very interesting observations about Paul Vallis, who is someone we should not discount because everybody's got their chunk of support, right? And he's got a chunk of his support. And you said, Kevin, you are speaking. Kevin's made some observations that people haven't really been talking about, but I think it's true. Kevin Lampe.
Thank you, Santita. Hello to my fellow guests here as well. Nice to have a panel with you all. Paul Vallis is going after a very limited audience, but being a multi-candidate race like this, it may take 25, 26 points to get in first place or second, which is what the goal is, because there's going to be a runoff with these people. But Paul Vallis is definitely pushing that law and order. Commercials are incredibly, I feel, very divisive, and he is dog whistles, and he's talking to a very small population that is in the city, the ultra to moderate, very conservatives who are, who are still motivated by racial politics themselves. And I think Paul Vallis will just create more division in this city. I'm almost ready to say, that Paul Vallis' donation should be burning up.
Dr. Starks, your thought about the debate, about these candidates, and even about Paul Vallis and that.
Well, unfortunately, I did not see the debate last night, but I agree with Lampe that there will be. I'm convinced that there will be a runoff. Secondly, I'm convinced that Paul Vallis is, in fact, trying to appeal to that small group of white voters. He sees that as his base, just as truly sees Hispanic his base. And as everyone knows, we have 7 African Americans in the race, and that vote is going to be divided between those 7 people. Lastly, I don't think you can count out Willie Wilson. Willie has a big chunk of voters that are loyal to him. So those people who are counting him out, I think are wrong, because Will have, I don't know if he'll be in the runoff, but I think he will have a strong base that will come out and vote for him.
He might not be in the runoff, but it seems he is a player. And quite frankly, we don't know. I think he gets discounted because people say, he doesn't have the polished presentation and it's like, come on, you all, this is about the vote because we've had a couple of people call in today and they love Willie Wilson. And I don't think that that's something that you need to sneeze at because he speaks to the fundamental needs of a community that is hurting. He does do that. Now that's real. That's real. So, and I think that we have to just stop, ease up on what you think you want your mayor to look like and all that. It sounds ridiculous. It just sounds absolutely ridiculous. And it really it bothers me. I'm sorry. Yes. No. Somebody
The
said
other thing,
and.
of course, is
Yeah.
you cannot count out Brandon Johnson.
No.
Brandon has a strong, solid, and he has money from the unions. And that union vote is a significant vote in Chicago. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot count him out.
Well, I mean, also he has a very strong presentation. I mean,
Yes, he does.
and you know how we love our teachers now, particularly when our teachers fight for us, and that's how we got to know him. So, I mean, so what do you have to say before I get to Dwight, Reverend Wilson? What about Paul Vallis and the dog whistle politics that Kevin Lampy says that he's playing?
I think Paul is looking to white ethnics, and when he was head of CPS, he built some relationships with the black business community, opened up some opportunities, some don't trust him. And so he's looking at a core of black voters, a solid base of white voters, white ethnic voters, who want to see themselves back in power in the city. And then when I look at Brandon, what I see with Brandon is not just the money, it is the ability to turn out workers. Because this election is going to be a won or lost on the street. You're going to have to get the people out to the polls. Jamal will be attractive to the young adults, and I think that his challenge will be to get them to the polls to vote. Now, a lot of people talk, but you have to get them to cast a ballot. And that's going to be the challenge in this election. I'm not sure that any one of them have thought about increased voter turnout and pushing these people that have not voted to vote in this particular election. And so I think that Brandon has the money to put troops on the street. I don't know I know Willie has money that he can get campaign workers. Jamal has the social media for young people. The question is, will they vote in this election? So each one of them have a different base that they're looking at. I'm not sure that I don't know Sophia King's citywide reach. She's articulate and all of that. She's a nice alderman. I don't know that she has the kind of chutzpah that is necessary to push through to get to the runoff and then win in the runoff. I think the mayor has to change her tone if possible, and she has to go. She's got 77 communities. She needs to reach every one of those communities and say what she's done for them since she's been mayor these past 4 years. It's going to be an interesting race.
Reverend Wilson, many people, particularly in the African American community, were disappointed with the performance of Vallis when he was head of the public school system. Do you think that would have an effect?
I think it's going to have a tremendous effect. That's why I believe he's leaning towards white ethnics, because he tried to develop a relationship with the black base. He doesn't have it. And so, in this city, you either have to have the blacks or the Hispanics. He has neither, right? Because Chewy's in the race, he's going to get a lot, I think a pretty strong lock on the Latino vote. The black vote is seriously divided among these.
Absolutely, I agree.
And so, the other question is, the strongest voters are women. Who will the women choose?
Well, they pick one of the women.
Well, you know what? It looks like these women, these black women like Willie, these black women like Willie Wilson. But I mean, because I've heard a lot of that because they feel that he's from the church, which is that's who's the base of the church, black women, and he's done well. He's very basic, and he is socially conservative, which is where most older black folks are. I mean, that's just it's gonna be very, very, very. Oh my gosh! I mean, I can't call it. I really can't. I really can't. But no, Dwight McKee, are you still there? Yeah. So what are your thoughts? And respond to all that you've been hearing from everybody here.
Well, I don't think it matters what they say. I think what matters is who pays for what they say.
Oh, ouch.
And with politics work is that Jesus said that your heart is where your treasure is. And so whoever is paying, whoever has put the money up, is going to ultimately making the decisions for these people. The issue is how
Dallas getting his money. Where's Dallas getting his money?
It's all conservative. It's all Republican money. Well, Republican money, I believe, is Willie is only based on his own independent money. And I think that the challenge for the black candidates is are they going to be willing even to deliver on the promises already made at the expense of those other 76 groups that you just named? Is that the mandate for participation in the fire department has never been dealt with. The mandate for blacks in the police department has never been dealt with. Equal housing has never really been dealt with. And taking a lot of this land and giving it to blacks who have been dispersed. 50 schools and education that has been redistributed to white people have to be redistributed back into the black community. And so when you look at how this thing is going to shake out, it's really, again, a battle between interest groups who is trying to monopolize on the resources of the city. And I think that because it's 7 of us in the race and we're so divided, it really diffuses the black face in such a way is that it's going to give an unconventional candidate an advantage. I think that Dallas has a fairly solid but small white base. I think that Brandon has a real solid but small base. I think that the Hispanic guy, Chewy, I think that she can really run away with the marbles because he has a little broader Spanish base. Yeah, and then candidates like Sister King and the Young Buck. I'm hoping that Jamal, I think because they're charismatic and liberal, that they may have a wide appeal with the white liberal crowd and the black progressive crowd and the young progressive crowd. And I think they might either some surprises or the spoiler.
Yeah. Well, Santita, I am disappointed that nobody is talking about education. The Chicago public school system is in a mess. No one is talking about that. Why?
Because the polling is telling them not to talk about it.
Why?
That's the problem. That's the problem is many of these campaigns, in particular, like you see the Dallas campaign, is 100% poll driven, and all the polling is saying that crime is number one. That doesn't always what people will vote on either. They want to have a good education for the children. They want the infrastructure of the city maintained. And so Dallas is just poll driven. And then I want to report about Chewy too. That's interesting. Chewy, the last time ran for mayor, did really well among the progressive Bernie Sanders crowd in Chicago. And so him and Brandon controls that vote. So it makes it even more complicated, and that to a certain extent the coalition of progressives of radical liberals, or even like we even have social democratic socialists in our city council. That group of people was very much behind Chewy the last time.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think we should undersell his coalition building over the past several decades. This is not new. I mean, Chewy came out of the Jackson campaign, as you all know, in '88, and was one of our strongest surrogates and supporters. And he has worked across racial lines in the progressive vein for a long time. And I think that just even confining him to the Hispanic community, I think that's a mistake. I mean, I think you have a lot of candidates with sleeper elements in their support, right? I mean, people are discounting Willie Wilson. I mean, I think Brandon Johnson in these polls has snuck up on people. Paul Vallis is laying in the cut. And the power of the incumbency means something. Dr. Starks, I've got 1 minute.
Yes, but why is it that no one is talking about the possibility of Lori Lightfoot being reelected?
I
You
don't
don't
know.
hear anything about that. I mean, it's sort of, kept. Her supporters are not really very verbal. They're not active. They're not out, promoting her. What's the problem? Reverend Wilson, what's the problem?
1 minute.
Well, I think that many of the people are watching and listening. There are a group of silent people who are going to go to the polls and vote particular for their choice. I think that the people that are most vocal don't like Lori Lightfoot's style. They don't think that she cares about it because she's so combative and aggressive. However, if she ever gets the message out about what she has done and what challenges she faced, I think she will get the vote. So that's the question. Her ads have been fighting the other candidates. I wouldn't waste a dime or a nickel of time on them. I would just say, this is what I've done. I've been the mayor, da-da-da-da-da. She's not what I want to do in the future, right? Yeah, if you reelect me, this is where I'm going. She has the bullet pulpit. She has the moment. But she better seize it now, because these other people they're just talking. They've never been where she is.
Someone better tell her, because we are 5 weeks away from this thing. But no, we'll be right back with more of the Santita Jackson Show. I'm gonna give away these tickets in the next 30 minutes. So keep it locked right here on WCPT. Keep talking, y'all. Okay, Paul?
Yes.
I'm going to do the ticket giveaway when we come back.
Okay.
Okay? And so just let me know who the winner is, and I'd like to bring them on air. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks so much. I'll do that as soon as we get back in. You all keep talking. This is great. Love it.
Well, let me build on something you just said, Santita. Somebody needs to, what you're saying, somebody needs to tell Mayor Lightfoot what she needs to do. And all my experience in Chicago and talking to people that work for her, already work for her, or people that are trying to work with her, is you can't tell her anything.
Yeah.
That's my impression. Absolutely.
And it seems to be a toxic workplace. From former staffers, I hear it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It spread pretty quickly among the operative class about who in office is difficult and challenging to work with. And she comes up with it, and then Paul Vallis is the next one that comes up with it as well.
Well, but Great Mayor Daley was very, very difficult to work with. I mean, he ran it as a boss. And, many executives are difficult to work with because they have a vision, they have a focus, and it's their way or the highway. That works in some settings. I think at this point in the city,
You need a more collaborative style would be more helpful right now because people have come out of so much tension. The COVID-19 changed the character of America and certainly the character of the city. People are just tense. You can watch them on the expressway. So I think that's why a combative style is offensive and challenging the people. But on the other hand, I think those of us who've been around some time need to say what she inherited, what we've seen, and try to get people to see the broader view of what's happening in Chicago. And I think focusing on children would be essential.
Exactly.
Yeah. Stand by. Hold on. That was under Rahm Emanuel. But you know what? She's got to be open to getting the advice. She's got to be open to getting the advice, and she's got to move in that way. She's got to move. I mean, because when you get up, that's right. When you get up on her, she'll ask you, and you'll. And I'm very candid. I think you need to do this, and this. And she looks. I'm like, yeah. Remember when I had you when you were on Reverend Show, and I asked you how you respond to this as a mother? She said no, and she said, and before she even answered the question, her voice got very soft. She said, "No one's ever asked me that." I said, "Well, you're a married woman with a daughter. How do you talk about them killing all these Black people? How do you talk to her?" And she said, "No one's ever asked me that." And I think that being a woman, being Black, being gay, all of that, she's prickly.
It creates a tension in your head where you're fighting every day just to be respected, to be recognized.
And Jeanette,
you got to get over that and go on to be the mayor.
And Jeanette, and that's even before you get to being gay, quite frankly, because sexism is a deep thing. We saw that with the Obama-Hillary race. Nick Kristof said, "Look, I thought racism was something. Sexism is deeper. Stand by. Sexism is deep. It's deep." And the fact that you can't play the game with her, and the fact that you can't play the game with her and sleep with her, a lot of men resent her for that. But that's real. That's real. That's real. That's real. But what's real is that she's got to know what she's dealing with so that she can get back in office if that's what she wants to do. And hey, everybody, do you want to come to the mayoral forum that we are having WCPT next week? Well, now is your opportunity. Call me at 773-763-9278. 773-763-WCPT. We are giving away a pair of tickets to WCPT's Chicago Mayoral Forum Thursday, January 26th at Morningstar Auditorium. It's across from Daley Plaza in Chicago. All 9 candidates have confirmed their participation in this forum. This is your chance to hear directly from the candidates. Lunch will be provided at 11 a.m. Yum. The forum begins at noon. Joan Esposito, yours truly, Santita Jackson, and Patty Vasquez, magnificent women, will be moderating the forum. The forum on WCPT is sponsored by Morningstar Roofers Local 11 and Oscar Isberian Rugs. Contests running on WCPT 820 are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana area. 1 entry per person, 1 winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. That's it. Complete rules are available on our website, WCPT820.com. Get there by clicking the contest tab when you get to WCPT820.com. All right, everybody, call me at 773-763-9278. I want to know who won. I want to know who's going to be there. And please, all I ask is that you let me know who you are. Let me get a hug. Whew. This boy, there is a whole lot going on here. I don't even know where to begin. Kevin Lampe, what do you see? Because you said that, with polling, because you are a political operative. You've organized campaigns. You've run campaigns. You've been a manager. You and Kitty Kurth are among the top political operatives in the country. Talk to us about why a candidate would run a particular campaign, right? I mean, why would Paul Vallis in a city as diverse as Chicago decide to go straight for the white ethnics, just like Trump did? Because Trump has a lot of black acquaintances and friends. I can tell you that right now. But Hillary had the women for the most part. Bernie got the progressives. He took what was left. Yeah, I mean, he made that decision,
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to share the dirty little secret of what us consultants do when we're fighting a campaign. We are focused on motivation, not persuasion. Since we vote in such low numbers in this state, this country, we have to get voters to show up. Now, I've done elections over in Sweden where they're doing 96, 97% turnout. They have a multi-party system there, and persuasion is the key. Motivation is gone because people are going to participate. Because their culture pushes them to participate. But in America, we have so limited amount of participation in elections, and we're fighting suppression efforts across the country. That is the problem. So what Vallis's team has calculated is we're going to talk about crime, and we're going to have a white guy on camera talking about crime, and that's going to bring out that group of people that is going to be stuck and maybe the one in the Trumpsters and the other of the more moderate or even conservative Republicans in the city of Chicago, and that may be enough in a multi-candidate race to get them in position 1 or 2.
Would that be enough to push him over the top in a runoff?
As a political opportunity, I say yes. As a citizen of the city of Chicago, I'm praying that's not going to happen.
Well, how do we get people to talk about education, the public school system?
Yeah, and I think what the challenge is that for many of us in the activist community, we need to be pushing these candidates all the time. We need to go to these events. We need to go see them where they're at, and if we got a moment to say with them, we need to push them. We need to push their teams, and we need to be vocal about it. We need to say, you know what? Let's talk about the whole range of issues that are important to this city. And that is something I'm doing. I'm working on some alternative races in this city. But I'm counting them. We'll talk about crime, but we got to be talking about education. We got to be talking about economic development. And we have to have a well-rounded. And that's my strategy, particularly because, as much as I'm in this, it's my business, it's also my passion.
I think you got to talk about economic development, economic investment in these communities. Education is fine, but the schools have been disinvested, those that exist in the community. The buildings are not properly upgraded to deal with the technology of the day. And so they're not properly staffed anymore to address the issues that children face. How do you have schools where 20% of the students are homeless, which means those kids don't go to a particular place to sleep every night? They can't do homework. So when you talk about education, it's about investment in this issue of poverty and homelessness in the city. There has to be a change in that. We spend more money incarcerating juveniles than we do educating them. Per se. So you figure out how to give them three meals a day, a bed every night that's warm, safe, pretty safe. But we don't deal with homeless children. They're sitting outside in tents and going from shelter to shelter or riding the L all night. When they talk about safety on the L, you got L's that are serving as homeless shelters during the night. So I think that has to be dealt with. And so we want to know why we have such a low turnout. People are depressed. People are sick and can't get adequate health care. The closing safety net hospitals are under-resourcing them, understaffing them. And so those are some of the issues that have to be addressed. And it's not just the city of Chicago, it's the county of Cook and the state of Illinois.
And the nation of the United States. We got a real problem here.
Yeah, we really do. You had a state representative who's running for mayor. What money is flowing from the state to the city to address these issues? What have you introduced in the legislature to protect the citizens that sent you to Springfield? Julie, what are you doing in Congress? I'm a progressive. No, progressive means to me that you're going to make sure that money flows from the federal government to your city. That's why I used to love Gus Savage, because he focused on delivering to the city of Chicago.
My former boss.
Yes,
he did. Yes, he did.
That?
Yes, he did.
Held up the leases until so he said, unless you're going to do this for Chicago, I'm not going to vote on any of this. He understood how to play the game. Politics is a game of cutting up the pie to deliver to your constituent. And I think that's what we have to focus on. It's not, I don't care about personalities. I care about what you're doing for the masses of the people.
But I think that Dr. Starks has hit upon the sweet spot, Dwight McKee and Kevin Lampy. Education, that is something we are desperate for. Equal access to equal high quality education for our children. Every school should be Whitney Young, Northside Prep, Peyton Jones, all of that. Everyone should be, but it's not. You should still, I think you should still have these highly competitive magnet schools, but then you should have your Kenwoods, you should have your South Shores, your Inglewoods, Dunbar. I mean, what about vocational education, which Willie Wilson has been talking about, that everybody is not due to be college bound. People, well, I mean, first of all, people need different kinds of education. My lawyer and my plumber, two different kinds of education. But guess what? If you want a master plumber, they have gone to school, and they need the education. So, I mean, let's stop this classism, this classist discussion that we're having. About one job being more prestigious than the other. Yeah, well, when your toilet backs up, like I said, you're not looking for your doctor. You're looking for Dr. Plumber. So what I want to know is, who's going to cut through this, just cut through the buzz and talk about the things that people really, really need? Because we're still in the pandemic, y'all. We're still here. We're still here.
One thing that
Dwight?
The Board of Education has been used as a hush fund for the last 15 years. And so the resources have never been about the children. It's always been about the political groups that have access to the money. And so the problem with education is there's no real base of advocacy for the children. So that's why you have children on the subways who are homeless and are hungry, and nobody is lobbying for them. But you also have overpaid staff and overpaid administrators who have been there for 40 years, having no accountability. And so you get a mayor who is willing to go against the grain and restructure the whole environment, who is more concerned about the children's education. They didn't get the donation from the Plumbers Union or from the janitorial union. Then you continue to have these problems. I think the one who is most in line to deal with education issue is Brandon. Yes, that's also it's passion. I think in terms of that dominant issue, they're not enough of the other people's children in school, in public education, for it to become a dominant issue.
Well, they're all connected. I would bet you that 90% of the young people who are hijacking and shooting and all that are dropouts or pushouts from the public school system. Please keep in mind, there are public schools in this city, particularly high schools, where their attendance is, down by 20%, 30%, etc. And so kids don't go to school. Number one, because Daley got rid of the system that tracks young people in schools. So we don't even know who's in and who's not. This is a serious question. And all three, investment, schools, education, as well as crime, they're all connected. But education is one of the key things to turn the whole thing around, and nobody's talking about that.
Mm.
And Santita, I hope that that is a question that you're going to put on the floor at your debate.
Well, I'm tired.
Education is an issue.
Well, education is an issue, but see, one of the things that we have to fight against in the media are the tired tropes. And as we've been talking about the questions that need to be asked at the debate, I said, look, do not talk about violence and no jobs. I said, you closed all of these schools on the south and west sides. You have closed the door of education to Black people primarily. I said, and we are desperate for education. It was illegal for us to be educated for more than 200 years. Illegal. And so when you close the door to education on us here, I said, first of all, that meant you fired more than 50 principals, assistant principals, teachers with seniority. You wiped out the middle class. Are you serious right now? Oh my gosh. And then you're packing them into these classrooms. I mean, I think there's just a lot of pieces here that we have got to, because people don't want to look at these problems holistically. Panel, they don't.
Well, they don't want to solve the problems. They
No.
just want to talk about, for example, when you say education, it has to be a comprehensive education for every child.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have Lane Tech with a complete trades program and no trades on the south side? They used to teach students how to be airplane mechanics, how to even build planes. Now that system is closed. We had Dunbar, you could get your car fixed at Dunbar.
That's right.
Because they learned auto mechanics. We had
they had a house, remember? Wait a minute, Jeanette, remember they had a house that the students built, a fully operational home in the middle of Dunbar.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of Dunbar, absolutely. In the middle of Dunbar. And so now, at Simeon, it wasn't just known for basketball, they had electrical trades.
Absolutely.
Every child should grow up having some basic skills, and you should have a pipeline from the trades to the trades.
But some of that, Jeanette, some of that is on us because we have go to college, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become a this, become that, become white collar, instead of understanding that it takes all the collars. We need to be respectful. No, I mean, because we're not doing that. Because if we see our children who are inclined toward vocational genius, we don't encourage that. We don't.
Absolutely. Well, when I went to high school, my mother made me take typing. She said, because you will always have a job. I financed part of my college because I was a typist. I was a statistical typist. These children are not being taught how to survive. You have to have skills that are needed in the workplace. They have to learn robotics. Every school should be teaching that. That's not an option. It is the way of the world. How do you graduate and you don't have any sense of technology?
Well,
and there's a whole career path for people that understand technology. That's not a college path, it's a career path. And we have to look at career paths for our children. That, to me, is education. Why should I have to go to a for-profit school to learn how to be a chef? You know I like cooking. I don't want to go to college. I am a chef. Let me go to chef.
I want to go to a culinary institute. Wait a minute. College gives you has a certain track of education. Culinary institutes. Right. I mean, the thing we've got. I heard John Johnson, God rest his soul. He said you get the education that you need, and we're not doing that.
That's right.
And this is where because we were denied all the entry into all of these different tracks. It's like we say everybody can sing, every Negro can sing. That's not true. That's not true. Everyone can dribble a basketball. That's not true. That's not true. People have different gifts, and we need to help our children and our adults actualize whatever gifts they have because they're all necessary.
Okay.
It's really not our fault as much as it is that those white unionists who wanted to dominate the union locked in the fact that you have to be part of a union in order to get a job, and saying they took trades out of the public schools, and you even to learn the trades, you have to go to one of the schools in the suburbs, so that they could systematically lock the blacks out of the unions. And even when they get their union card, the unions have it set up in such a way, and they then make a decision on who then gets those union jobs. Precisely. It's racism. Absolutely.
And you know what? And that should be that should be a question that is asked, Dwight, at these debates. But Dwight, no, it's right. But that's why these are the questions that need to be asked and answered. And that's why if Lori Lightfoot is going to run, which is what she's doing, she's got to say, wait, let me tell y'all what I walked into. I didn't close these 50-odd schools. He did that. And I had to deal with that. And then, a year in, we shut the whole world down. So I'm trying to figure out how to get y'all masks. And I mean, it's just, let's be honest about the problems that she faced. And quite frankly, the problems that if she doesn't get back in office, whoever gets in there is going to face these problems because the city doesn't have enough money. I mean, it's a real thing, y'all. It is. I'm going to go around because I want to get closing thoughts from everybody because we've got about 5 minutes left here. But boy, oh boy, have you all been a great panel. Look at God. Thank you. Ooh. Let me get a minute and a half from you. Reverend, you know, because I'm pulling these things together. And I said, let me call, because I was reaching out to, everybody. Reverend Jeanette Wilson, your 90 seconds.
Well, I think that we should all be voting in this election because it is going to have a tremendous impact on not only our present, but the present and future of our children. The next mayor will determine the quality of a comprehensive education from school to career. We have to look at how do we rebuild these neighborhoods that have been blighted for decades? How do we reinvest in communities where African Americans live and work? How do we expand opportunities for our people? That's what the mayor must do. So as we look at these debates, I would challenge everyone, get your family, get your friends, get your neighbors to turn out and vote February 28th. This is one of the most important elections in the history of the city of Chicago.
It's always important, y'all. Get out and vote. Kevin Lampe.
Yeah, I'm going to build on that because, whenever I get into a political argument with anybody, the first thing I ask them, like I get a word in edgewise, say, are you registered to vote and did you vote? And if they're not registered and they didn't vote, I say, you have no right to be in this argument. You have to participate. And, that voter registration card is your license to be able to change the world. And it is so important that we do this because if people participate, then a Paul ballot candidacy or these niche candidacies that assert the country, just like Trump did to the Republican Party, a limited number of Republicans vote for him, but it was enough to get through the primary. These things happen. We know bad people get in, but good people don't show up and vote.
Dr. Starks.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that's been said. The candidate that will motivate people to get out to vote is a candidate who will hook all these things together. Get rid of crime, good education, investment in communities. Those three things have to be put on up front and talked about. And then lastly, we definitely have to find a way to get young people to the polls. Young people don't vote. And we have to make sure that young people come out and vote. I don't know which candidate has any connection to young people, but if you're going to win, you need to concentrate on how to get young people to the polls.
Dwight McKee, the last 90 seconds.
Well, I think that once you vote, then what happens is the issue. Is that how do a community that is there with 100 years of disinvestment, who had to pay the price of that restructuring the economy in such a way as now it's at least fair? Won't be equitable because you're dealing with 100-year surplus where everything has gone to the other communities. But now they have to be able to make a sacrifice in that to do that. I think the young guy, Jamal, has the wherewithal to really go into that fight because he has a young base, a young constituency who is not as invested in the structure as the rest of the base is. And so I think he has the latitude for that. So that's what I'm looking for in a man, is somebody who will be bold enough to really redistribute the wealth and have to fight the good fight, because there's going to be a fight. We need more black policemen, more black firemen, more Hispanic policemen, more Hispanic firemen. We need these other ethnic groups who have taken everything and dominated everything, and to be at least accountable to the fact that they have to share the wealth.
Absolutely.
Share the wealth.
Well, very quickly. No, wait a minute. Very quickly, because you know I've got to get out of here. Paul, did anyone win the contest?
No callers.
Okay, everybody, call in so that you can get tickets to the January 26th debate. All right. Everybody, you know what? I want someone who is going to be fair. How about that? And if you're going to be fair, you're going to take into account what black people have been through, what Hispanic people have been through, what disenfranchised people have been through. I don't want someone who looks like me. I want someone who has processed their experience so they can understand me and understand life from the bottom up and govern that way. I gotta go. Hold on. Wait. I gotta go. But hold on, we can talk a little bit as soon as we get off y'all. But I love y'all, everybody. See ya on Monday. See you on Sunday on Keep Hope Alive. Okay, I got a couple of minutes because I've got to run today. But Dr. Starks, go on and say what you were going to say.
Yeah, the city council, no one has talked about the city council. Someone on the show here is working with electing aldermen. How do we deal with that question and the relationship between aldermen and the mayor? We're going to have a new city council come after this election. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think one of the challenges is, something I tell the people that I'm working with, is to be strong leaders. I'm proud. I've spent a long time working with Aldo Tandau. I think she has stood up and she has become a leader, as a quiet leader at that, which is sometimes very much needed. But people need to be in that mold. The reason why Tandau is so successful, and I admire her so much, I work for her, but she cares, always the first thing she is focused on, how will this affect my resident? What can I do to make sure that this gets passed? And please remember, the first thing that Mayor Lightfoot said at inauguration was, I'm going to take back your ability to run your wards and make all the decisions. That is crazy. I mean, do you recall that?
Yep.
Oh, when she said, when she campaigned, she talked about taking away all democratic block.
Right, exactly. So we don't need that kind of animosity, that kind of argument. We need someone who's going to be mayor, who is going to be able to work with the aldermen. At the same time, you're right, we need aldermen who stand for their community, the people they represent. That's very important.
Yeah. And the problem is, we have before Lightfoot, with the exception of Harold Washington, every one of the other mayors has been the boss style.
That's exactly right.
City council. Strong mayor, weak city council. In reality, the way the system is set up in our charter, it's none of that.
It's the opposite. Absolutely. Strong city council and weak mayor. Absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody just gave up their power because they wanted to be elected all the time, and then they see contracts with their buddies and sell real estate and insurance with their wards. So.
That's Chicago, but this is politics. This is how this thing works. We need to understand that. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before I have to break on out of here today? I'm running, y'all. Gotta get downtown.
Part of the change has to be the police department and the fire department cannot continue to be an Iris of New with it. And the land can't continue to be a gentrification option so that the rich can get rich off the land. The tax system has to be reformed in such a way as that property taxes of the poor can be transferred to the major corporations downtown so that they cannot pay taxes on them and not have to reinvest in the communities. There has to be a whole overthrow or restructuring of the way the city is set up, which has been set up for the benefit of the wealthy and the powerful at the expense of the poor and the disenfranchised. And so you have Santita be bold enough to take on those groups.
Santita, one of the questions that we should ask the mayoral candidates is what are they going to do with the vacant land, the vacant acres, particularly on the south and west sides? Will they be given away to the corporate people? Will they be redeveloped for poor people? The ability of poor people to build on that vacant land. That's a real serious problem.
Yeah, because in Detroit they're turning it into farmland, and that's what we do here. And the soil is right for that. There's a lot that can be done. But I'd love for you all to give me some questions so that, because we have another meeting on Monday, and I would like to share the concerns of the community with the people who are, who are pulling these questions together, because I've given them my concerns or our concerns as I best understand them. So it would be great if you all would call me, text me something, really, because I do mean
Yeah,
that.
we'll text. I will. Yes,
Okay.
Yes, we will.
Please do. I mean, seriously, do that ASAP, because the debate itself is on Thursday. But everybody, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. But I love you. Thank you for being with us today. This was just